All right, welcome everybody. It's been a long time since I last made a video, so I'm really excited to connect with you all today. I have a very special guest here with me today, Adam Mitchell-Hart, is a dear friend of mine, career coach, entrepreneur, and he is definitely somebody who has inspired me, and I've gotten to know him pretty well over the last couple of months, and he's just been a very big inspiration, and he's really living what he's teaching. And as our world's changing, you know, there's a lot of, I think a lot of things that you can share with people, and we'll create some more context on, you know, around this. But Adam's here today to talk a little bit about his journey with going from the corporate type of environment, corporate world, into and transitioning into entrepreneurship and becoming a career coach. So, welcome.
Thank you, Ian.
Good to have you here. And this is a really exciting moment to be able to connect and hear more on your journey and your story. I'd love to just to create some context here for the folks listening, just to share a little bit more about you know, how you got to here. By the way, we're in San Diego, California, and you just walk us through like how you got to where you're at as far as with career coaching and entrepreneurship. Tell us a little bit more about like the corporate role and where you were.
Yeah. So you know, my career is a great example of what not to do. I made so many mistakes because when I graduated from college, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I didn't know how to get a job, and so I moved back home with my parents, and it was...
Where was home at for you?
Massachusetts. Okay. And it was a really tough time for me because, you know, they didn't know, you know, how to help me, and I didn't know what to do. So I was just floundering around for a year and a half, and I ended up taking a corporate job in the pharmaceutical industry, moved down to Philadelphia, which was the exact type of job that I didn't want. You know, I knew graduating from college, I did not want a boring, monotonous 9-to-5 job in the drug industry. But there I was, you know, working away in a cubicle, feeling very unfulfilled.
Like The Office almost.
Yeah, exactly like that movie. I felt like I was living the TPS report life. And so, you know, after a number of years of that, I couldn't take it anymore, and I jumped ship, and I started working in the tech industry. At this point, I was living in San Francisco, working for you know, startup companies. It was exciting. I was learning how to sell. I was a sales rep, and you know, that had its moments, but it ultimately left me feeling very drained and unfulfilled as well. But even worse, it burnt me out. You know,
I can only imagine. I mean, you're coming from and you're moving like from the East Coast to San Francisco, which is a massive city with so much going on in there. I imagine that alone must have been. Was that stressful for you, just going from that to that big, massive city?
Yeah, you know, that it's a beautiful, amazing city, but I lived there for 10 years, and after, you know, that decade was over, I was completely exhausted.
I'm sure.
And the biggest piece of that was that I wasn't living with a sense of purpose anymore. You know, I had this secret desire to become a coach because I always gravitated towards personal development and wanting to help people. I was inspired by this idea of starting a business and helping people solve problems. Mm-hmm. So when I felt like I had nothing else to lose and I was just feeling very broken, I had some health issues, that's when I decided to take the leap of faith, and that's when I quit my job, moved to San Diego, and decided to start a coaching business.
So you quit the job in San Francisco, just full surrender to that, to move down here to San Diego to just start all over.
Yeah.
Basically, after 10 years of being in San Francisco, to let go of all of that What was your inspiration for like that transition?
You know, the inspiration was that I desperately wanted more from life. You know, I was going through the motions, doing all the things I was supposed to do, and it never got better. You know, I built a nice life for myself in San Francisco, but it just never really took off. And I ended up feeling just very empty and unfulfilled. And it just affected my mental health, my physical health, and I just had to make a big change because I knew at that point in my early 30s that I was going nowhere and it was going to end really badly if I didn't make any changes.
You said something that stands out to me about the mental and physical health and how that might tie into like a work environment. And so I'm just curious, like what that was for you, like around health and physical like well-being and stuff. What happened for you while you were there in that environment? Because you were there 10 years.
Yeah.
In different types of positions and roles.
Yeah, well, you know, at the end of most days, especially in my sales roles, I felt completely depleted.
Just energy's gone.
Energy's gone. My whole body is just feeling fatigued and exhausted. I ended up developing a really terrible case of computer eye strain. You know, so like my physical body is just taxed. My muscles are sore. You know, I developed this repetitive stress injury, so I'm just worn out. And so when I get home from work, I'm not thinking about going to the gym to work out or going for a run or making plans to hang out at the park with my friends. I'm gonna pour myself a glass of scotch or a glass of wine, and I'm gonna drink until I've got a nice buzz going, and then I'm gonna watch some Netflix, and then I'm gonna, you know, eat some food, not the healthiest food, you know, get to sleep, wake up, and do it all over again. It was a cycle of numbing that I just got really good at. You know, occasionally I would smoke cigarettes, or I would use snus, which is like a form of tobacco. It's kind of like chewing tobacco. Anything to just take the edge off and just numb the feelings of angst, of anxiety, of stress, of pressure, overwhelm, frustration, and then just more than anything, just that emptiness.
And I can kind of relate because I've been through a series of different positions in my lifetime, and you know, different roles and positions that I felt depleted at the end of the day, and did, you know, use drugs and alcohol at certain points to check out, and I never felt fulfilled even after all of that. I just felt worse. It was, you know, and I wonder how many people know somebody out there who might be experiencing the same things. And so I love what you're saying and sharing, and I appreciate you sharing so openly, and gonna catch back up here, make sure I'm with you. So you're in San Francisco, 10 years in this job, you're feeling physical strain and pressure and not feeling connected and kind of feeling like off track and things. So you got this inspiration just to like let it go.
Oh my God, yeah, Ian, it was kind of like the craziest thing you could possibly imagine, right? Working my entire professional life to get to this point in my career and life, only to just throw it all away. All the friends that I made, all the connections, all the experiences in San Francisco. I thought I was gonna, you know, settle down there and ride off into the sunset. Instead, I had to burn it all to the ground.
Burn the boats.
Like 10 years of you know, planting seeds and doing all this work. And I realized it didn't amount to anything. It was meaningless, and I had to start over.
Like you make this transition over, and you arrive here in San Diego. Did you know anybody?
I didn't know a soul.
So you just came, car, whatever you could fit in the car, and came down. Yeah. And basically, where'd you land in San Diego? Because San Diego County's huge. Okay.
Yeah, you know, I was living in downtown San Francisco. I didn't know a thing about, you know, San Diego, so I just figured, let me move to downtown San Diego. That makes sense. East Village in New York City is super hip. You know, East Village here's got to be cool. Turns out it's not. Sorry if anyone's watching this.
Yeah,
It lives there. I didn't love it. But yes, I landed in the East Village and started figuring things out from there.
So what happened? Like you get here, I'm just trying to get my mind around the whole thing. So you get here, you found a place right away, or how did you?
I found a place while I was still in San Francisco. I basically locked it down, sight unseen.
Okay. Which is
So-
always risky.
Yeah, it was, I figured whatever. It sounds nice enough. I just liked that it was above a supermarket, so I could easily do my shopping, and it had a pool and a hot tub. That sounded like a nice way to unwind.
There you go. Well, that's good. You got some of the key pieces there at least, and then it's like you get here and start. Like, what do you do? You're not working, right? You're not
I
working
wasn't
and-
working. Still had health issues. They were still, really limiting how much I could mouse or type
Okay.
from the repetitive stress injuries. And when I came down here, I thought that maybe I'd help somebody else sell their coaching services because I didn't have the confidence yet to go out on my own. That seemed too scary.
So you were already thinking when you left there, you're like, I'm going to do this on my own. Like you had some sort of vision for that.
Well, I wanted to do this on my own, but I was scared. So I compromised with this idea of telling myself I was going to sell someone else's services. And then within a week of trying to work on that, I realized that was never going to work. It was doomed to failure. So I gave up on that. And at that point, that was it. I had to go for it. I had to start my coaching business in earnest. And that was, January 8th, 2018. Only 3 years ago, which is crazy, but that's when it started, and the reality was facing me head on of, oh my God, now I actually have to do this thing. What am I gonna do?
So there must have been something inside of you that was like, you got like something deep down maybe, because you're feeling the feelings of like a little bit of feeling scared, and which is, I'm sure, totally normal being an entrepreneur, somebody stepping into starting a business and not knowing anything about it. Like deep down there must be like this little bit of courage in there, I'm imagining.
Yeah.
But then a little bit of like the feeling of scared and feeling a little like I don't know what to do, and then it starts. And what I'm hearing is like you just said, okay, I'm just going to start this. I tried working for somebody for a week or so, and maybe you grabbed a couple of skills or tools there to kind of push you in the right direction, maybe.
Yeah.
Or to give you some kind of foundation to start on, or.
Yeah. Well, let me talk about the the mindset that I was in, right? Because for anybody that's watching this, I mean, I really want, my intention is to inspire as many people as possible who are feeling the way that I felt to burn it all to the ground if it feels appropriate and start over to finally take action on your hopes and dreams of entrepreneurship, of coaching, of having a sense of purpose, of helping people, whatever that is for our viewers and listeners here. I want to inspire people that's possible, because all you need is grit, and I've been working with a number of people who have successfully started their own career coaching businesses, feeling just as drained, just as broken, and all that, and scared as I was, but they had that grit, So for me, when I came down here, not knowing a soul, not knowing how to start this business or how I was going to do it, I just relied 100% on this internal will to figure it out. Like I had no clue how I was going to do it. Friends and family thought I was crazy. They would ask me, how are you going to get leads? And I had to answer them, I don't know. I've never done this before. But in the back,
I find that interesting. Like that's the part where I just get you're new in an area, you don't know anybody, you really you removed yourself from something of 10 years, and just like going, all right, it's like sink or swim, it's like, you got to get on it. that kind of thing. And so, tell me about the more about the how you gradually kind of got in there. I mean, you had your computer. Leads, you had to figure out how to get it. So what was your strategy, or what were some of the challenging moments in the very beginning, as you're walking into this whole thing?
Well, it's like, okay, how do I go from being Adam Mitchell Hart, former tech sales rep who just moved to San Diego, to career coach? Because I settled on career coach early on in the journey, and so the next part was, okay, how do I become a career coach? And my instinct was to just take action, start having conversations with people as a career coach, and I started booking phone calls with friends and people in my network to do market research and to pick their brains and to find out what are their pains, what are their frustrations, so I could then figure out how can I help them, how can I understand their world, and how can I start embodying the role of an expert, which is also the exact same thing that I have all my new coaches do. Pretty much everything that I figured out organically in a haphazard way has become the how-to manual, and that's where it started for me.
Okay, so then you're stepping into a new role now, like becoming a career coach. So through the data, you got what you needed. And so, like, as you're moving into that, you probably went through some areas where there were some challenging moments, and can you any of them that stand out that you
well, right off the bat, I felt like a total fraud. I would go to networking events and very sheepishly say that I'm a career coach. When they would ask me, oh, what do you do? I would go, I'm a career coach.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I think that's important, that feeling is something that comes through for a lot of entrepreneurs. And it's not uncommon to feel that. And so what happened for you from there?
Well, first I want to say that everyone that's gone through my program that has gone on to become successful career coaches, that was their number one hesitation, was before they signed on, they thought they would feel concerned but who am I to be a career coach?
Why do you think that is? What do you think is going on there?
Well, you just don't have the confidence yet. You haven't done it yet. And that confidence, you kind of have to take it on faith, right? I have to be the one to now tell people, no, you can do it. Like, I see it. I believe in you. Because I know what's possible for you. But until they've seen it themselves and they've gone through that process themselves, it's hard to have that knowing, because, like, same thing for me, it wasn't until I successfully was coaching people to, great outcomes that the confidence came online.
Sounds like there's some real initiations that are happening as you go through, you go through, and as your clients are going through, and I imagine for anybody, going through any kind of like transition, you're going to be faced with that kind of imposter syndrome, where it's like, you're not even sure of yourself yet. It's like learning how to ride a bike, and first thing you get on with training wheels, it's easy. You take one training wheel off and oh wow, it's a little different. You take both off and you're all over, and then so on. So I imagine, like, with what you're teaching your students and clients, that it's similar for them too. It's like the training wheels are on, and then eventually they come off for a moment, and then they'll come off forever. And you're assisting them through that process.
I'm working with a woman right now who just had her first enrollment call the other day. She's had a couple more, and she's reported back through these audio messages her live experiences, like right after the call. And she's going, Adam, I don't know about this. I've never, done sales before. I don't know if I'm any good, and all this uncertainty, unsureness about her abilities. And it was a great moment for me to reflect back to her and reassure her that that she's doing great, she's exactly where, she's supposed to be. And, it's like I'm walking alongside her as the training wheels just got taken off, and she's like, I don't know if I can do it, I'm gonna fall. I'm like, no, you're not, just keep pedaling.
Yeah, I got you. You're good.
So
that's great that you're powerful, that you're able to help assist them in those moments where it's like this could go down or they could keep going. They just have to believe it and be able to see it, and then bang, they're like cruising.
That's it, and then boom, they're riding their
cruise
bike.
Control in.
That's my whole role as the coach in these programs, is to help establish that confidence through all the different means, because by the end of the program, they're riding their bike on their own through the neighborhood, having a great time, and boom, my job's done.
That's the exciting part about coaching. I would have to say.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. I graduated.
A lot of joy, and to really be with them in those experiences. We just covered a lot of information, and I'm really curious to hear more about purpose, like being on purpose, living your purpose, like what that means for you, and maybe you can share more on that.
Sure, yeah. So, I registered this domain, purposeistheway.com, the first week that I got working on this coaching business. And I actually didn't know what it meant. I just thought that it sounded cool. Intuitively, I knew that purpose was important, right? And purpose is the way made sense to me. But I hadn't felt it yet in my body, in my experience. So I parked it and used adammitchellhart.com as my website. And then a couple years later, as my business was maturing and I was firing on all cylinders, I had this 1 month where I was facilitating clients having these incredible breakthroughs in their personal lives that were leading to them landing their dream jobs. And it was incredibly exciting and fulfilling, and I could just witness this incredible transformation in these people's lives. And at the same time, people were really engaging and enjoying the content that I was sharing online about this whole process. Kept on having people enrolling in my coaching programs because they wanted that same experience. And I was just so high on life. I was visiting a friend in Tahoe, skiing down the slopes, doing recording videos for my audience while I'm doing. I just couldn't stop talking about my business. It was just like so fulfilling. I was in the flow.
Yeah, it's exciting.
And what I realized was that that was me on purpose. I just had such a strong sense of purpose because I knew why I was doing what I was doing, because it was making a difference, it was changing lives, it felt incredibly rewarding and fulfilling, and there was no wasted energy. It was, it was all my talents were being expressed to this end of helping people. And so that's been my big epiphany about purpose really being the way to a happy, healthy, and fulfilling life.
You felt like you were on your purpose, you were feeling inspired, you were, making videos, you felt really like things were really happening quickly for you, and it felt like you were in that flow of life, and so then you created the business because you were your name, adammitchellhart.com, and then you went on to create your business.
Yeah, so I ended up using that domain name because it occurred to me, oh, that's right, purpose is the way, and anybody can have this experience, and I wanted to make this experience of purpose by becoming a career coach and facilitating these same kinds of amazing experience for people that need help. I wanted to make that possible. So that's become my new focus and passion, is to turn the keys over to as many people as I can and say, here, you go drive the car now. You take it around the block and you let me know how that felt.
So you're really leading from a heart-centered place with an intention to really like consciously help and guide other people who are also looking for something very similar to find their way, and purpose is the way. So you've kind of created this whole thing.
Right.
Maybe you can share. I think we have a little bit more time, so maybe take a couple minutes to share more about how we can find you at purposeistheway.com.
So the website the domain is fully live now. So anyone that's curious about finding their own sense of purpose and maybe exiting the draining experience of the corporate world of the 9 to 5 that's just not doing it for them, they can visit my website and learn about this 4-month career coach certification program, where by the end of it, you are a fully certified career coach with paid clients. I just graduated a guy recently who enrolled 12 paid clients by the end of the program.
What is that net?
$6,000.
Wow.
You know?
Amazing.
So it's going, Adam, I keep having to pinch myself. Like, I can't believe this is real. You know, because he's doing it. You know, not only is he riding the bike now, he's popping wheelies and he's doing tricks because he's found this inner drive and inner inspiration where he's just running with it. And he's having all these same experiences of helping people and being free and independent and making money, doing what he loves and all this stuff. And so this 4-month program is available to anybody who has that same desire and same interest in gaining a sense of purpose.
So really, what you're offering and what you've created is for if somebody's strongly considering transitioning from a job that they feel doesn't serve them anymore, they feel like something's missing in there. Maybe they want to start their own business. They're just not sure where to go. Your program is 4 months, and it's going to walk them through different phases, building confidence. You're walking them through step by step, and you're really there as a guide and letting them also kind of steer the wheel a little bit too. But you're there kind of you're like the bumpers. On you're keeping them in, and so they get to have this full-on experience with you, and then at the end of that, they can expect to go out and start. Immediately, they've got clients and they're ready to go. And this is around like career coaching. Now, could it be around, say somebody wanted to be a different type of coach. They didn't want to do career coaching, say they wanted to do, something else with coaching. Can that work in different areas, or is it just for career coaching?
This one's specifically for career coaching,
okay.
and the reason why is because with career coaching, it's anybody can pick it up. I can teach anybody how to coach someone through a job search. I couldn't teach anybody how to coach somebody through a life crisis or improving their feelings of self-worth. The life coaching stuff, that's a lot more nuanced. The career coaching is very straightforward, which means by 2 months, you're already able to make a big difference helping people. Other thing I want to just add to that is that, this has really been about providing people with the tools and the how-to manual that I never had, that I wish that I had, because it took me 2 years of blood, sweat, and tears to figure this stuff out, and I want to make this easy for people so that as many people that are interested can have this experience, because it doesn't have to be that hard, and it feels good just watching people go through the experience very, very quickly.
I'm sure it is. I'm glad you mentioned that part. That's a key piece. You're really condensing it into a powerful 4-month program.
Yeah.
So brilliant. So before we wrap this up, just have one last question for you. If we were to like wind it back in time and go like, knowing what you know now, where you're at now, what's one piece of advice that you would give to yourself before you made this transition? Knowing what you know now, what would you share with that guy?
Yeah. Well, it's actually to find the how-to manual, right? To not reinvent the wheel if you don't have to. I wasn't aware of any how-to manual so many years ago when I started out. There might have been one. I don't know. I didn't find it. Oftentimes these things don't exist, so we have to create them. But that's the one piece of advice is, scour the internet, do whatever you have to do to find out if there is a simple and effective how-to manual and invest in that. Because whatever investment that is, it's going to save you a fortune in money, time, and headaches to just take all the shortcuts and just avoid a lot of the trial and error and trouble along the way. So find the how-to manual.
There you go. Like minimize a lot of that stuff, and be able to like start yourself in a much more empowered, come from a much more empowered place.
Yeah, take the easy route. Entrepreneurship, it actually doesn't have to be all that hard. If you're a trailblazer, it's going to be a lot harder. But for the people that go through my program, there's a lot of them are like, what's the big deal? This is kind of easy. Once they get the hang of it. And that's beautiful, because that's how it can be. And
you're leading and guiding, so I imagine it probably does feel good because they've got a good leader that's behind it's, guiding them. So, well, this has been great, and I really appreciate you taking time to connect here with us. And before we go, how they'll get a hold of you through purposestheway.com.
Yeah, check out my website, purposestheway.com. You can find me on LinkedIn, Adam Mitchell Hart.
Spell the last name, Mitchell
Hardt.
All right.
So yeah, guys, come and find me if you're interested to learn more.
All right, we'll wrap it up. Thanks a lot, brother. We'll see you guys on the next video.